Hi everyone, thank you for joining me. Sorry for coming like the Universal Lorax, but had some trouble getting dressed this morning. But today I want to talk about the first garment of clothing I ever made. It was a skort with pink ribbon embellishments on the side to connect, but we'll get into that later. And the piece is called Abonie by AMJeans, which is my jean vertical, and I'm Abonie. So yeah, let's just get started. Ooh. Okay, so here's the agenda for the presentation. This would be a presentation type of vibe for today. I just want to talk about the inspo and background for this garment, my process, look at some pictures, and then what I learned essentially. All right, so first with the inspiration, I am the inspiration for all of the clothes I make. I really wanted to focus on combining femininity and functionality. I think sometimes in women's clothing, especially, they aren't as functional for our bodies, especially me. I have not like the straightest body type. My proportions are pretty like hourglass to pear, and that's not always the best for the current fashion trends that are going on. So yeah, I just wanted to combine something that would make me cute as well as be able to ride a bike. Ooh, keep doing that. Okay, and we will be exploring my creative process through the IYA framework. So I am a recent graduate of the University of Southern California with a Bachelor of Science in Business Administration and an emphasis in entrepreneurship, as well as a minor in extended reality design. And that minor is taking place, sorry if you hear the train. That minor was in the Jimmy Iovine and Andre Young Academy, and this is the framework of the school, the study in the combination of business, technology, and art and design. So yeah, that's how we will be looking at this garment making process. Jesus, I keep doing that, sorry. So the first thing of that framework, business, since I was in an undergrad business school, there are two things I learned when you're trying to create something new, create a new venture. Do you see a gap in the market for this thing? And oh, sorry. And is the issue that the problem that you're trying to solve, you have to be trying to solve a problem. And is that problem close to you? So obviously the gap that I talked about, women's clothing not being as functional for everyday life, as well as that is close to me for the reasons that I talked about earlier, just existing as a girl, not with the straightest proportions, and making sure that these clothes can fit for everybody's body. But yeah, oh, and this is my grandfather. Sorry, the picture is my grandfather um in my business school's hat. He's a great proponent of my education. So yeah, next is technology. The second thing in the framework. So these are the technologies that I came against in my time that I had to learn. So looking left to right, this is a picture of me printing my sewing pattern, which is the picture that you see on the top left. So that's my sewing pattern, and I had to print all of this stuff to make sure I could lay the garment on top of it and follow those lines. And sewing, oh my God. Sewing was another technology that I had to learn. Man, no, like it looks easy, but that is definitely a hump to get over when you're first learning how to sew. And it almost got me a couple times. And then the last skill that I would say, well, this is actually one of the first skills I had to learn was 3D designing the clothing. So extended reality design, my minor. I do know a little bit about 3D design. Well, I know a lot of bit about 3D design. And this is one of the things like learning how to mock clothing up in a 3D software requires an understanding of fabric and material that I don't think people would consider, because it is mocked, obviously, and that was just like a skirt I was basing this project off of. And, pink is my favorite color. So yeah. All right. And then the last little anchor of this framework is art and design. So I was like thinking about this, like, what about this was artistic? And I talked about the 3D design that I had to learn, but also just making it close and finding different ways to express yourself is art. So, that's aspect of it was very evident. And wanting to have something fun and wearable was the artistic push of it all. And, one thing that I learned in business school is that everything is designable and the art of design thinking when it comes to building things. And like that is what I had. Like I had a lot of design thinking choices to make when I was making this because I was like, this is essentially like no one's really telling me what to do. I have a big rectangle piece and I can just make whatever I want. And so I was like, I grappled with questions are, do I want buttons? Do I want a zipper? How should the embellishments look on the pockets? Um, and yeah, and we'll look, and through all these things, we'll look to the final piece. But yeah, like I said, I made a skort at the beginning. I made a skort, which was essentially a piece of shorts, as you can see over here. Sorry, there's an ink on my hand. I made shorts, and then I put like a skirt front on top of it, and I connected it with doing grommets and ribbon. So I was talking about functional. It's not the most functional thing in the world if you're wanting to wear this skirt piece, actually, because the ribbon kind of get. If I will say, I modeled this for a skinnier person, which I shouldn't have done, but I did. I modeled this for a skinnier person, and then I had to end up wearing it. So it's not like exact, but you get the idea. You get the idea. I think, well, we'll talk about my takeaways next. But yeah, this is me. My friend Ryan took these pictures. Shout out him. He also gets a shout out at the end. But yeah, and this is my friend Will. Okay, so my takeaways and iterations. So my main takeaway doing all this, oh my God, no piece of clothing should be $5, $10. Like clothing me to start. Like when we talk about something being handmade, well, every piece of clothing is handmade. Every piece of clothing is handmade. You don't just like make a shirt. Like a machine can't just make a shirt, you know? Every single piece of clothing is handmade. So you should not be paying $5 or even $10 for good quality clothes. And okay, believe in yourself and surround yourselves with other people who believe in you was one of my takeaways because I had such great friends like cheering me on in the process, as well as my professors. They were great. All these people get shout outs in the end too. And then I think if I had to reiterate from this, obviously a zipper would be nice. There's no zipper on this. So like shimmying it on, no. Or buttons. And then as well as just changing the way the skirt piece gets on. I think with a longer ribbon, it does make sense, as well as these jeans need to be a little looser from the body for them to be tied. So a longer ribbon and looser from the body, or you could do a zipper on the side. But yeah, those are my different iterations. Velcro zipper pockets. And then these are my thank yous. Yes, thank you if you got this far for listening and watching. Like I said, this is my first piece that I ever made, and it is like a little dream of mine to have a clothing line. So I just want to say thank you for all to all the people that made this happen. Carson and Anya were my wonderful professors, are the ones who guided me through this course in my undergrad, and they were just great, especially Anya. Oh my goodness, queen, love you. Kayla and Haley were my original models that I had the piece designed for, so they were with me at the beginning of the process. And having them try on that previous picture, this is Kayla, so having her try it on was great. And I also want to say thank you to Lensa, who took some of the pictures of me earlier in the process and was with me in the sewing studio. She was great. Fur, who taught me how to sew. Fur, who taught me how to sew. Fur, who taught me how to sew. So worked in the creative studio, amazing. Driver, that's my boy who took the professional photos. These, and he just made sure I got right. So respect him. And then last but not least, I would like to thank me. I would like to thank me for believing in me, me for finishing this project, me for finally sitting down and recording this video. Again, thank you so much for watching. Like and subscribe to follow the projects that I do in the future because I do a lot. And yeah, have a great rest of your day.